This segment of Founders and Visionaries is brought to you by Sterling and Tucker.
When you think of great leaders or founders or visionaries, they all share one trait in common, and that's courage. And sometimes that courage means having the courage to change careers midlife to follow your heart's work. So this year you celebrate your 20th year of working together, but it's also special that we're doing this because when your business first got started, you were featured in Hawaii Business Magazine, and now here you are being featured again.
That's right. They came and featured us as a one-stop shop, and it was just us and a couple people. And now, 20 years later, here we are, actually having successfully transitioned a major part of our business to a younger generation. We feel very accomplished in that way. It's like having a little baby. We have our own children. That's another thing we did all these years is raise families and watched all these other employees raise their families too. You know, it looks like one business, but it's really three. So you have the law firm doing estate planning, and you have the CPA firm doing the tax aspects of the estate planning, and the investment advisory firm doing the financial planning and investment advice. From a practical standpoint, you know, we started out as CPAs, and one of the things people want to know is, should I incorporate my business? Should I be a sole proprietor, a partnership? And so they're asking us these things, and then even if we had an answer for it from a tax standpoint, we couldn't actually help implement it. And so that's, I think, the first reason why law became such an intriguing add-on to the CPA. So we could go the next step. And how do you minimize taxes when you pass away? Well, you have to do a trust, but if not a lawyer, you can't do that. You can only tell them to go somewhere. And it just continued from there. I think for me, it wasn't so much the drive to build a business as it was a need to take care of my kids. I would never have worked this hard if I didn't have 4 mouths to feed. It's ironic, huh? That caring for somebody you love is...
So for any business to stay successful and in operation for 2 decades, it takes a lot of business savvy and strategy along the way too. So how have you survived the ups and downs and ins and outs of the last 20 years?
Well, in part we've been fortunate because of the field we're in. I mean, estate planning, everybody, if they recognize it, has issues there. You know, you've got issues of who do you want to leave your property to? How do you leave the property to them? How do you marshal the assets while you're alive so that you can live comfortably? How do you do retirement planning? I mean, the kinds of things we deal with are so close to the heart of everybody that regardless of the economic situation, people need help with these issues. I think there has to be a basic sense that you really care about the people you're working with. It's not the money, it's not fame, it's just working with people and somehow being able to sit down and engage individuals and families and guide them in what's very important to them in terms of their finances, their decisions of how to leave a legacy. That became something that made me feel very good about what I'm doing.
It's a wonderful, wonderful career. We, deliberately set about building a practice that we could transition to another generation. And that requires that you sacrifice your own individuality for the sake of, uniformity.
Let's talk a little bit about how all this knowledge and guidance that you impart to others has actually come into use and had value for you in your own personal life.
Well, personally, about 3.5 years ago, I suffered a series of mini strokes in very quick succession, and everybody was totally unprepared. There's no history of stroke in my family. And when it happened, I was here one day And the next day, I was in real trouble. But we had our plan, and it's a good thing because if we hadn't, it would have been a terrible mess.
It's like a plane, flying through the air and one engine stops.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it happened just like that.
But they came through. The whole practice came through.
But unfortunately, it's never going to be the same.
Yeah. One thing we learned was, and for other people, is get your papers in order, because just know where they are. Children, wives or husbands who say, oh, he takes care of everything, I don't want to think about it, should do some thinking and should know at least some bare bones information so that they're not totally lost when there's a crisis.
Yeah, you have to educate your family. And children, at some point, they need to be informed about your finances. I know it's a sensitive subject. Children don't really want to ask. And yet there has to be a moment in time when you say, I think it's time to share. Because if you wait until you're gone, your family's going to suffer.
Or if you wait until there's a crisis and you're not gone, but
It's even worse.
then it's really a misery.
Children who have aging parents, how do they initiate that discussion if they think that their parents haven't taken the steps they need to plan for the future?
What we find surprising is how actually it works the other way around. The parents want to disclose the information and the children don't want to hear it. It's not going to happen, it's going to be okay. They don't want to face the reality, and it's for their parents. Their parents will be relieved if they know that they're in good hands. So don't feel like you're being greedy about money by accepting your parents' invitation to find out what's going on. It's not out of self-interest, it's out of caring both ways. Your parents care about you, and you can express your care for them by actually taking the time to listen.
One of the things that we do as a firm is we have a lot of public seminars, and that's a good way to start. And that breaks the ice for a lot of people. It's non-threatening because they don't have to worry about they're going to sit down with an attorney who's going to shove something down their throat. They have this opportunity to listen, and we find that a lot of our clients like that approach to bringing a child in the fold or bringing a parent in the fold.
Beyond the work that we do in the office, it's very important to me that we help out in the community. And one way that we do that is to serve as treasurer on different boards, because oftentimes they don't have the resources to pay for that.
Just about everyone has a mobile phone today. How do you reach them? MilanMarketplace.com is a new way to boost your sales and make business visible within the top mobile apps in Hawaii. Drive sales with targeted messages by instantly reaching shoppers in close proximity of your business. Multiple locations? Easily create and change custom promotions for each location. Pay only for consumers who respond to your promotions. Don't get left behind. Register your business at MilanMarketplace.com today.